Good morning. Let me begin this morning by welcoming all of you to Francis Marion University. We are here this morning to announce, after a fair amount of work on the part of many people in this room, that Teach for America is coming to South Carolina. Our first group of 30 TFA Corps members will begin teaching this fall in school districts in Chesterfield, Clarendon, Darlington, and Florence counties. For the 2012-13 school year, this will increase to at least 60 Corps members teaching in South Carolina, and in 2013-2014, we'll have at least 90 members teaching in the state. I'm also pleased to announce that Francis Marion University will be the South Carolina host university, and our very talented School of Education faculty will work with TFA teachers working to acquire their certifications, and for many of these Corps members, their graduate degrees as well. Now, let me just say a few things about Teach for America, and then I'll introduce others here this morning for some brief comments. First of all, Teach for America strives to eliminate educational inequity by enlisting the very best college graduates across the nation each year to teach for 2 years in school systems and districts with large percentages of children from low-income families. In fact, 80% of the students taught by TFA Corps members receive free or reduced lunch programs. Currently, more than 150 active Corps members are from or attended college in South Carolina. In fact, this year TFA received 48,000 applications from graduates across the country seeking to enter the program, and 650 of those applications were from South Carolinians. And this year, for the first time, many of those young men and women from South Carolina will have the opportunity to teach in their own state. We're very, very proud of that. TFA's entry into South Carolina began with the vision and commitment of one very determined person here this morning, who also happens to be a member of the TFA National Board, Darla Moore. She and the Palmetto Institute staff, Jim Fields, Susie Shannon, convinced, no, proselytized might be a better word, all of the rest of us as to the strengths and values of the program. And Darla is absolutely correct. South Carolina needs this program, and South Carolina will benefit immensely from the infusion of these young, talented, and vibrant graduates who will teach alongside the PD's experienced and dedicated teachers. It's truly a win-win from all aspects for the state and for the PD region. Now, let's get Darla Moore to tell us about her vision for TFA and what it means to South Carolina. Ms. Moore.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here. I'm really happy to be here this morning. In recent months, 2 very special South Carolinians were honored in their hometowns. Y'all may know of them. Our very own Ron McNair was honored in Lake City with the dedication of the Ronald E. McNair Life History Center, and Benjamin Mays in Greenwood with the dedication of his childhood home as a museum. Both these men are heroes. Both overcame tremendous obstacles to achieve greatness. Ron McNair, from being turned down in Lake City Library for a library book because didn't think that a young black man of his age was clearly ready for a library book on science. He later came to be, as you know, a scientist, an astronaut, and an American hero, not just from South Carolina, but an American hero. And Benjamin Mays, from growing up the son of freed slaves to becoming an educator, minister, and advisor to U.S. presidents, and the father of the Civil Rights Movement. Both of these men are heroes because neither one would let where they grew up nor the discrimination, nor the lack of opportunities of their surroundings stop them from seeking excellence. They achieved their goals notwithstanding the fact that both grew up in poor, segregated circumstances where many around them wanted to keep them in their place. That's why I'm so excited to launch Teach for America here in South Carolina, and more particularly right here in the PD. I believe it can be transformative. I think it's a transformative moment for us here. We're losing too many children because they either drop out, or even if they graduate, they do not have the skills to further their education. And too often I've heard the sad excuse of, what do you expect from these kids? They live in poverty and come from dysfunctional families. They have no chance to succeed academically. This attitude is simply unacceptable. The burden of failing to obtain a quality education, or as Wendy Cobb, the leader of Teach for America, would say, failing to obtain an excellent education, is extraordinarily heavy. Not only for the young people who fail, but for our community and our state. Just think of the burdens of public assistance, incarceration rates, loss of tax revenue, health outcomes, and inadequate supply of skilled labor that results from such failure. I strongly believe where there are no expectations, or where limits are placed on such expectations, we are bound to fail. Teach for America shares that same belief. They believe every student deserves a chance to be put on a path to reach their full potential. These 30 incredibly bright, dedicated teachers who come to us from Teach for America will bring to the PD a commitment that every student can and should have the opportunity to achieve the highest level of excellence possible. These teachers will refuse to allow the circumstances of poverty to dictate educational attainment. In fact, they'll use education as a means of breaking the cycle of poverty. Now, we all know this will not be an easy task. While there are many excellent educators in the PD working very hard to improve the education system, we have too many students failing to meet even the basic state standards. If we cannot break this trend, too many communities in the PD will not have the assets to become economically vibrant. Too many of our students will not have a chance to go to college and eventually get a quality job with good benefits. None of us want that for the children of this state. None of us want an education program that dumbs down the requirements just because the students came from low-income families. To compete in today's competitive environment, we have to raise the bar, and there should not be an achievement gap just because someone is poor. This is antiquated, old thinking, people. As I said, I believe in Teach for America. They have a track record of raising academic achievement in underperforming classes. Independent studies in other states have shown that Teach for America teachers have a greater impact on student achievement than other new teachers. The good thing is I am surrounded today by a group of special people who also believe in Teach for America. Fred Carter and his leadership team at Francis Marion have been so graciously working with us and with Teach for America in an extraordinary partnership here. We cannot say enough about Francis Marion, Fred Carter, and all of your leadership. The superintendents who are providing these dedicated, bright teachers positions in their districts, thank you. Mike Brennan needs a star over his head, who not only helped us get the needed alternative accreditation to allow Teach for America to come to South Carolina as a member of the State Board of Education, but who also has so generously gotten BB&T to contribute to the effort. Without Mike Brennan's efforts, we would not be able to bring Teach for America because we wouldn't be accredited to teach here. And this has been an extraordinary effort, y'all, and I think most people in this room understand what a remarkable effort from the time we made the decision to do this to today has been an extraordinarily short period of time, and we had to say we had to move mountains is one of the great understatements you'll hear in this room. The board of Bruce Lee Foundation, especially Kim Turner and Johnny Bruce, and we're in their father's, or in Kim's father's auditorium right now. I'm very pleased with that. He was a great friend of my daddy's. I'm particularly pleased to be here today. They've contributed generously to the effort to get us here. And many others here today who have given up their time and resources to make this day possible. This is not a one-man show by any means. This is a team effort and a tremendous team that we put together here. But let me close my remarks today with the words of Dr. Benjamin Mays from Greenwood, who said, anybody can be nobody, but everybody can be somebody. Today we stand together to make sure students from the PD can and will be somebody, just like Ron McNair and just like Benjamin Mays. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Norma. Of course, the national staff of the Teach for America program have been a dynamic force in bringing this program into the state, and they work diligently trying to work with all of us, achieving something that occurred in a very, very short period of time, given the nature of the development of new sites. And I would be remiss if I didn't recognize Christina Grant, the Managing Director of New Site Development, who has been the champion behind this. Christina, stand up and let's all recognize her. Now, you remember my comments a few minutes ago about all of our wonderful graduates in South Carolina who apply for the THA program, but up to this point have been denied the opportunity to teach in their own state. Well, this morning, I'm proud to recognize now an exception to that rule. We're pleased that Josh Bale, who's a Clemson alumnus and a former TFA Corps member himself, will be our brand new state director. Josh, come up here and talk to us a little bit.
Good morning. Good morning. So glad all of you could be here, and I am incredibly proud and happy to be here and to once again say that now South Carolinians and those really outstanding, bright young people across the country who want to join Teach for America can come to South Carolina. So as you've already been told, this fall we'll be placing 30 really outstanding Corps members here in the state and the PD specifically. Over the next 3 years, we intend to bring at least 90 teachers to the region. And I say at least because there's a real possibility to expand and grow here within the PD and certainly beyond in the future. And we're incredibly excited about that. So, as you know, Teach for America is a 20-year-old organization that has made a significant impact in other communities, and we're just so excited about what lies ahead here in South Carolina. I want to thank a few people, and it may be a little bit repetitive, but I'm going to anyways. First of all, I want to say that Dr. Zace, our state superintendent, and then the former superintendent, Jim Rex, have just been phenomenally supportive and have offered incredible advocation on our behalf to make this happen. Although they couldn't be here, I want to express how deeply we appreciate both their efforts and that of the state board. We've got Ms. Shaheen and Mr. Brennan here representing the state board. Thank you so much. It's also fitting that we're here in not only a beautiful part of the Lee building, but also on Francis Marion's campus. Dr. Carter and his team, Dean Falkenberry, have just been incredibly supportive and have helped move the mountain that Ms. Moore referenced just a moment ago in many ways, and we look forward to the partnership that lies ahead. We would not be here today if it weren't for the generous donations that have made this possible. And so I want to first of all thank and acknowledge Ms. Moore and the Rainwater Charitable Foundation for the support that you've offered in making this a reality. It truly has been a cornerstone of our expansion, and we're so appreciative of it and look forward to what lies ahead as a result. In addition, we've received numerous donations, some of which have already been referenced, from individuals and corporations and foundations throughout the PD and the state. And those have been incredibly influential in why we're standing here today as well. Specifically, the Drs. Bruce and Lee Foundation have been benefactors of this building and many other things in the PD, and we truly appreciate their support as well. We're also so delighted to partner with these school districts that have been mentioned. Dr. Knight, thank you for being here today and representing the superintendents, which we'll partner with in the future. We're really, really excited about offering a deep and wide hiring pool for you to consider as you fill your high need positions. So, if all of you would stand for a minute, I've got a gift in recognition for your leadership and support, and what will be somewhat of an opportunity for us to celebrate for a moment. Absolutely. Each of us have one. Hope it's the right size. Thanks again for your support, each of you. It means a lot. As a graduate of Clemson University, first of all, I've been getting hazed a little bit this morning from my orange umbrella, but I appreciate that Ms. Moore wore some orange accessories to support me as a grad of Clemson. I'm just so excited to return to South Carolina. You know, when I applied to Teach for America during my senior year at Clemson, I was committed to doing something about the problem that we all know exists. And I was shocked that I couldn't teach in South Carolina. And so I'm so excited, not only that we won't have to send our best and brightest South Carolinians out of the state to join Teach for America, but also that we're going to attract some really, really dynamic individuals to this state to join this movement for 2 years and beyond. And so I'm so excited about doing what South Carolina needs and being a part of that service. I want to thank a couple of others that have already been thanked. Jim Fields is here from the Palmetto Institute. I don't see Susan Shannon in the audience, but thank you both for your support. You have just, through the initial planning to today and beyond, have just been incredibly helpful and supportive. Thank you so much, Jim. Christina Grant, who has already been recognized, has been an absolute globetrotter within the Southeast, including last night, staying in Charlotte and renting, taking a cab here this morning. I mean, that's indicative of the hard work that you've put in for this entire 10-month process. Christina, thank you so much. The core members that are coming are incredibly, incredibly excited. We actually have one core member here in the room with us, Greg Smith, who is from Myrtle Beach, attends Mars Hill in North Carolina, is so excited to come back to South Carolina. Greg, raise your hand. So excited to come back to South Carolina. And we couldn't be happier to have you this fall in the social studies classroom leading really outstanding things. And you've got your marching orders already, Greg, so I hope you're ready. I just want to say, over the next few years as I step into this role, this will be a collective effort. This will be a team effort. And all of your support and resources and ideas and advice are welcome, and I will need them in order to be successful in leading our core members to the kind of outcomes for transformational change that we want to see. Now I'd like to invite to the podium both a State Board of Education member and the president of BB&T here in South Carolina, Mike Brennan. Mike has helped us not only secure that support, but really helped make this possible today and the opportunity for our core members to come and become certified in the state. I just think we're so fortunate to have the leaders not only on the stage, but leaders such as Mike, who have a vision for what is possible for all South Carolina students. And I'm excited about what Teach for America will do to give them the opportunities that we've all had and that they absolutely deserve. Mike?
It's a great day for South Carolina, isn't it? because I agree with Darla that this is a game changer. This is going to be transformative, and I think that makes it a great day for South Carolina. I also want to acknowledge this morning my fellow board member on the state board, Rose Shaheen, because Rose has been just as supportive of this as I have and as other members of the board have been. So, and Rose has been doing this a lot longer than I have, and as a former superintendent. So I think she deserves a lot of credit for this also. So Rose, thank you. It was over a year ago that Jim Fields called me up and said, I want you to come on down to the office. I want to talk with you about something. And with Jim, you're never sure what he wants to talk about, but you come anyway. And Jim and Susie were there, and I had the opportunity to meet Christina that very first day, and subsequently met Josh. And we started talking about Teach for America. And that was an exciting day because I've always asked the question, why doesn't South Carolina have Teach for America? And we talked through the issues, and again, it's a great day because I think one of the key messages for us in South Carolina is the education equals prosperity message. It's a message that Darla has been preaching about for a long time. In fact, if we just get the average per capita income in South Carolina up to the national average, that's $35 billion of additional income for South Carolinians. And I think Teach for America could be a critical component of us getting to that point. On behalf of BB&T, we couldn't be more pleased to be involved with this effort. We're involved with lots of different efforts in public education, including financial literacy education. But again, we think this investment is a key investment. We'll probably make additional investments in our entire footprint. I know we're looking at the state of Alabama right now in this regard. So we're committed to this, and we're pleased to be a part of it. Let me just share one quick story. And Rose, you've heard me say it. And when I was in the 7th grade, I had a history teacher named Richard Nixon. Interesting name for history. And I was just kind of a regular kid in this little town, and average kind of a kid. And the first day of class, he put up on the blackboard, average equals the best of the lousiest and the lousiest of the best. And that just hit me directly where I needed to be hit. And I determined that day that I wasn't going to be average anymore, and I have never looked back. And I think that's the kind of commitment we're going to get from the TFA teachers, not for kids just to be average, but to be something better than that. Better for themselves and for their families and their communities and for South Carolina. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mike. I'm just glad that Josh didn't ask us to try the shirt. Let me tell you that the unsung heroes in this whole process over the past year have really been the 19 superintendents in the PD, who have been, without question, some of the strongest supporters of TFA in the state. Once they began to understand the program, once they met the national staff, once they've had the opportunity to look in depth at the statistics related to the programs, all 19 school superintendents became very, very strong advocates. But among the superintendents, one of the earliest and strongest proponents is the last speaker on the stage, Rainey Knight, the superintendent of Darlington County Schools, has been a very strong and forceful proponent behind the TFA. And I would remind all of you, it's the superintendents now that have the responsibility of implementing the program, assimilating the TFA board members into their teaching assignments and making the process work, and championing programs inside the individual communities. Rainey, would you come forward? Thank you.
This is a great day in South Carolina. I really support the Teach for America. I began teaching 35 years ago as a non-educator. I graduated with Francis Marion in chemistry and biology, and then decided what did I want to do, and I went into teaching. So it was very similar to what Teach for America does through an alternative certification. It's been the best move I made in my career was to join the courses of the teaching ranks. So I'm always a teacher no matter what I'm doing. As is evidence today, there are a lot of people that had in this room that had to make it happen. In my opinion, the most important was Ms. Moore. Her vision, her generosity, and her commitment, you can hear, to the children of the PD and the children of South Carolina. And it is very true. I tell all of the students that I taught and the students that I see now, sometimes not in good situations, in field hearings and expulsions, etc. Not good. But I go into the schools and I make sure I have a chance to talk to children before they get into trouble as well. And I tell them the most important thing they can get that they never can take away from them is their education. And you have to understand that so many children who have parents who that is not a part. It is who's going to get where tomorrow, how am I going to get to my job, various things in families that can be very dysfunctional. And so the Teach for America, I think, starts with the children, the young people who are now these young teachers will come in with the intelligence, the knowledge, the commitment, the caring, and I think the most important thing is motivation. What motivates you to come and work with these young people who are very bright? They need somebody to believe in them. They need to go home and say, I can do this. And that's what I'm so excited about leaving then. I met with Teach for America and excited for the Darlington County School District, but also for all 19. So thank you so much for letting us have the opportunity in South Carolina to have Teach for America.
That brings to a conclusion our prepared remarks this morning. Are there any questions on the part of any members in the audience or the press, or any of the participants on stage this morning? Well, thank you for coming in. Have a good day.